Welcome back to my channel. My name is David. Today we're going to talk about my story time about my life and why, might explain why I'm so weird. Alright, I want to start off by saying this is a topic that I'm hoping that my younger brother will see this video. Because my younger brother is very close to my mom, and I haven't talked to my mother in 20 years. Me and my younger brother, we have never talked about the situation with my mom. And even as they were little and everything, you know, we went through like the times into conversations about it, and it just caused arguments. But I haven't talked to my little brother in 14 years. Okay, so me and my younger brother are starting to like conversate a little bit online through messengers, and I'm hoping that he will see my side of the story on this topic, because my younger brother doesn't really know what happened. He only probably knows, if he does know anything, it's a good chance it came from my mother. My mother is very defensive on this topic. She will not carry responsibility, and a lot of people don't understand like why I don't talk to my mother. And I know it's a horrible thing to do, is not to talk to your mom. I understand that. I mean, because this is the person that carried you and gave you life and, you know, birthed you. So this topic is something I find to be very, very sensitive for me. I believe that this topic has also began to mold me into who the person I am today. So we can start off by how I ended up in the foster care system. Back when I was like 13 years old, we were on 8th grade vacation. Back when I was 13, I was on 8th grade break, because I would have been 14 in my first year of high school. We were playing around with my little brother, and my other brother, my middle brother, we were playing around together. So we ended up playing around with my little brother, and we ended up beating him up. You know, that's what brothers do. You know, they pick on each other, they play with each other, you know. That's how we do it. So my mother at the time, she was pissed. It started off like, I don't know, it just started like playing around with each other, and then she got mad because my little brother got hurt. So then I don't remember exactly, but I do remember the yelling. There was a lot of yelling. I don't remember what was said. I think she threatened, because she always threatened to, you know, give me the foster care. So one day I just said, fine, you know, I'll do it for you. So I picked up the phone and I called the police, and I told them to come pick me up to bring me to the foster care system, because my mother was yelling, and she most likely was hitting me, because she used to hit us when we were younger. Her, my dad, my grandmother, rest her soul. You know, these people grew up like that, you know, beating the crap out of the kids every time they did something that they didn't agree with. That's just the environment they grew up in. Nowadays things are completely different. You can't get away with stuff like that. You know, once somebody opens their mouth, it's done. When that happened, the cops came. All right, the cops came in, you know, probably half the police force, because you know how those things are. Every time something goes wrong, they take half the force and bring them over your house. They came over there, and my mother was saying, I'm out of control, I do this, I do that. So she gave the cops the whole runaround. You know, he comes home late. Yeah, he's right 3 houses down the road, but he walks in the house at 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, no 13-year-old should be coming home at 2 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't matter if it's 3 houses down the road. Okay, if it's a family member or aunt, that's a different story. But yeah, I agree with her on that. So brothers always have fights, so she told them about that. We beat up my little brother, blah blah blah. So from there, I actually ended up going to my aunt's house. My aunt ended up letting me live there, because my parents got divorced and my father was already living there for 6 months, okay? So she let me stay there. So I was there for a few months. So my uncle used to pick on me like crazy. I don't know, he was a huge alcoholic. My aunt was my mother's sister, so she was always jealous of her for whatever reason. I don't know. I never got into questioning why, but so my uncle was a huge alcoholic. They're not together anymore, which is good for her, but he was wicked bad with me. Like, he used to call me names like crazy. He used to call me faggot. He used to call me a queer. He used to call me a wigger, tell me that I dressed like black people and whatever this crap was. He was a huge racist. Huge. I mean, like, when he got drunk, man, he used to talk so bad about everything, and he was just a bad person all around. So he used to make fun of me all the time, call me a homo, and every time he used to get drunk, I was like the punching bag for him, you know, so he could sweat out his booze. So he used to just literally do all that stuff. So then eventually we got into a huge argument. He came at me to fight me. I don't know for what reason it was. I'm sure I did something that I shouldn't have done. At this point I'm already 14 because I'm already in 9th grade. I'm already in high school. Things have already started kicking in. I'm already there. So now I'm already 14. So he came at me with something. I don't know what it was. He tried throwing the chair. I think that's what it was. He threw a chair at me in my aunt's house because they were together still at the time. So I grabbed a huge knife. It was probably like 14 inches long. So I grabbed that knife and I told him, come on. So they called the cops. The cops took me. They put me, I was already involved in social workers at this time because once the cops take you from your parents' house, you know, it's pretty much done. So I ended up getting taken out from there. Cops took me to this, the social worker, and the social worker put me in this place on Cambridge, Massachusetts. They called it Marathon House, I think is what it was called. I don't know if they're still there, but I know it was not too far from the prison. I ended up living there for probably about 6 months. So 6 months, I was way beyond. I wasn't supposed to be there that long. I was. So in the meantime, I would talk to my mom. You were allowed to do 1 phone call a day. Basically, it was a residential home. So you would go there, you would live there, you would eat there, you would sleep. I mean, you basically, you were like a military prison is what it was. But it was for kids before juvenile detention. That's basically what it was. So instead of putting kids in juvie, this was like the purgatory for juvie. You know what I mean? So this had a bunch of kids with tons of problems here. Like, and you had like, you know, kids breaking into cars. And so I lived there. There was about 15 kids, maybe 20. You know, it's very, very shaded for me at this moment. These are parts of my life I try to forget about. Living there with all those kids and everything, I would call my mom every day, you know. I would be on the phone crying, telling her I'm sorry, you know. I told her, please forgive me, you know, I'm sorry that I did this. I won't come home late anymore. And I guess my mother's boyfriend, she cheated on my dad with this guy. She was still with him. He didn't like me. He put his hands around my throat once, told me if I ever talked to my mother like that again, that he was gonna break my teeth. My mother never did nothing about it. My mother was the kind of person, she did not like to be alone. She was the kind of person she had to be with somebody all the time. So no matter what, she could not be alone. And I had that same problem growing up. So then I realized where I got it from. So anyways, so my mother's boyfriend did not like me. I was like a teenage punk kid, you know what I mean? I didn't go to jail for anything. I didn't break into cars or anything. I didn't break into homes. So I wasn't that kind of bad kid. I was just somebody that was stuck in the middle of a divorce. My parents just got divorced. I had tons of freedom because my mom didn't pay attention to me because she was with her boyfriend, her boy toy there, and my little brothers were home. So my mother didn't give a this is like, my parents were married for 16 years, so once they got divorced, they were banging everything. So my mother was just on the sex fees. My dad was like freaking banging everything he could find at the bar, regardless if he had to pay for it or not. He didn't give a shit. So my mom was telling me that her boyfriend doesn't want me there with her, that he hasn't forgave me yet. So my mom was telling me, she's like, I'm not ready for you to come home yet. So that's what I always got. Okay, soon. She kept saying soon. So I'm already 14. I started another school. When that place started, my mom kept on telling me, you know, like, you know, I'm not ready for you to come home yet. I know I don't forgive you yet. I need time to think, okay? So now these are months, a month goes by, okay? They have to evaluate you. Every 30 days, they evaluate if you're gonna stay there or not. So it's not a continuous stay. It's basically until they evaluate to see where you can go. If they don't have a place for you and nobody takes you, then you stay there for another 30 days. So 30 days go by, they evaluate, they call my mom. My mom says she doesn't want me home. Here I was thinking that I was gonna go home, so they're telling me this. Oh, we spoke with your mom says she doesn't want you home yet. You can stay here for, you know, another month, and then we'll see where we are then. Another month goes by, same thing. I'm not ready for you yet. I'm not ready. When I'm ready, I'll let you know I'm not ready. I love you. So I'm on the phone crying because I'm already like close to 2 months now that I've been at this place. Now it's basically, it's almost about 5 months since like I was living with my mom and my brothers. So now we're talking a second month, she's still not ready to let me stay there. You know, then another third month goes by, same situation, talking to her on the phone, crying, you know, please forgive me, I'm sorry. You know, I made some bad decisions. Still nothing, okay? 6 months go by, they can't let me stay there anymore. So what ended up happening is I had to go to live in a place. It's a temporary, like, it's kind of like a recession place where you just go and you stay there until they find you a foster home, okay? So I went to go live in this other place near where my hometown was. This was actually Attleboro at the time. And I don't know what they call that place, but I know that it was basically like a sitting center. You know, they woke you up at a certain time. You know, it was just like the other place I was. You couldn't sleep in, you couldn't stay in your bed all day. You had to get up, they gave you chores. They gave you like allowance where you would get like $5 a week or something like that. Basically, it was like a prison. It was terrible. So you couldn't stay there and live forever, but you could stay there in the meantime while they look for a place to put you. So I was there for 2 weeks. It was terrible. It was even worse than the other place that I was at for 6 months. Worse. Like, they had the girls on the 3rd floor. They had somebody stand like on the stairs there, like sitting there watching. They're making sure nobody would be going up and down the stairs, because you know we're horny as shit. So they had the boys on the 2nd floor, they had somebody in the middle floor, they had somebody on the 1st floor, they had like counselor people that would work there. That place is actually still there because I drive by that once in a while. So that place is still open. I don't know. I'm gonna say that it's probably better than it was 20 years ago or more. You know, I'm gonna say it's better now how it was, because things are a lot better nowadays. So I'm not 100% sure, but I know it's still there because they still got a bus outside where they drive all these kids around. So from there, I ended up going to a foster home, which again wasn't far from my hometown. This one was actually in Norton, Massachusetts. So basically I stayed within like a 50-mile radius of my hometown, you know. So I moved to this foster home where these people were very nice to me, very, very nice, you know. I lived there for 6 months. You know, you couldn't bring your shoes in the house. They had another foster kid that was there. So they had issues, you know, with kids, obviously. Foster care, they get like $400, $500 a month. You know, that basically, what they're saying is, we're not going to give you money to keep the kid. We're going to give you money to, you know, to feed the kid. You're doing this through your heart. You're not doing this for any other reason, because a teenager could just freaking eat like a bastard. So now I'm into foster care. I'm in foster home now, and they lived on a farm. They had cows, sheep, you know, horses, chickens. They had everything there. It was a beautiful, beautiful place, okay? So I lived there for those 6 months. I did a lot of chores. I did muck in the stalls before I would go to school. I mean, it was a good place. They were very nice people. The lady the foster mom, she was so nice with me. I mean, she was the closest thing I had to a mother at the time. I got very attached to her, you know. And the guy was really nice. He owned a fencing company, so I used to go put fences with him, and he would pay me at the time $10 an hour. So that is huge, considering the minimum wage was probably like $4 or $3.50 an hour. $10 an hour to get paid that much over minimum wage is huge, you know what I mean? Like nowadays, minimum wage around here, where I am, I think is like $12 or something. I mean, that's like getting $19 an hour. I mean, when you only should be getting 12. So that's a huge, massive difference. So the guy was very nice. You know, you could tell he had some problems. You know, he did some drugs when he was younger. He used to be an alcoholic. He used to get into trouble. So now, you could tell he got picked on in school and bullied. So now I'm already in another school. So this is like already my 3rd high school that I was in, already at my freshman year. So basically, I'm just one of those kids that's just gonna, you know, end up in jail. Obviously not to be successful like I am now. At this point, I'm over there and I'm just like starting another school, and I'm doing chores. I'm working, you know, I'm making money. I'm not doing anything I'm not supposed to. So now I'm already in the middle, starting another year. So I'm about to start my 10th grade now. 1 month I started, and then I had 2 months in between before 10th grade started. So I went back to that same school, had massive bully issues and everything. So I learned a lot. I really did. That's one of the things you never do as a parent, is you don't pick a stranger or something. Once you become a parent, your life automatically switches to a different, you don't have a little dial where you just slowly, you know, turn to that. You literally, once you become a parent, your life changes. Now your kid should be your #1 priority regardless. And then my father got an apartment. So then I ended up living with my dad. They passed the custody. I left my foster home and I ended up going living with my dad. As I got older, I realized that this woman, I'm only associated with her because she's my mom. I would have never affiliated myself with her if she was just a stranger. Never. If she was a friend and she screwed me over that much, I wouldn't have talked to her. So why am I talking to her just because she's my mother? This was just my childhood growing up, my whole situation in the foster care system, and what it took and for me to finally get out and where I am now. I mean, I'm happy with my life. I love my life. I don't regret who I am today. I feel that I am who I am because of all these experiences that I've had in my life. Those are the kind of people you don't want around. Parents out there, not all kids are nightmares and they just get a little moody. It doesn't give you a reason to throw them out just because, you know, you can't deal with them or it's affecting your love life with somebody that's probably not going to be there next week. You know what I mean? Kids are very important, you know, a very important part of life. I don't regret having my daughter at all. Me and my wife, we know that that's the greatest thing that's ever happened to us. So, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys on the next one.
I am a prodigy, I am a leader, they follow me. And if I don't like them, they lie on me. Pull out the chopper, let that shit bang. If you don't like it, then you cannot hang. Bitch, I'm a saint, I am not blowing the dang. We're filling up cups and we sipping that dang.